Hey everyone, today I'm going to take you through a troubleshooting workflow to highlight some of the new features and functionality that's available in Aruba Central. What we're seeing here is an overview of all of the sites that I am responsible for as an IT administrator. What I can very easily detect is that the 4 sites that I have in the west coast of the US are all fully functional and operational. This is in contrast to the performance degradation that has been reported in Mexico, on the East Coast, and also in some of my European offices. Now, I may want to understand if there is a common issue across those 4 sites. So using these filters here, I can filter to understand if any of these sites have reported high channel utilization in the 5 gigahertz spectrum. Good to see that that's not an issue. What about from a high noise perspective on 5 gigahertz? We have one site, and by selecting that site, I'm now presented with a summary of the key metrics that we've been monitoring. So at a glance, I understand that we have 3 pieces of infrastructure at the New York office and they're operational. And as I scan down, my attention is drawn to the fact that there is a potential noise issue on the 5 gigahertz spectrum. So let's just go into that site and start taking a further look. What we're seeing here is the overall health of the New York office. I now understand that there are 2 access points and 1 switch that make up the infrastructure at this site. I can see the number of clients that are connected and how they're actually connected to the network and the bandwidth that's being consumed. And something that is extremely important for me as an IT administrator is to have a visual representation of any potential unauthorized or unknown changes that could have been made to this site that are contributing to the overall degradation in performance. So as we can see here, as reflected with the empty circles, we don't have any to worry about, which is extremely reassuring. Looking at the overall health of the infrastructure, what we're seeing as the availability of the hardware and also the health of the hardware from a CPU and memory perspective. Now, the area that we do want to pay a little bit more attention to are the RF health indicators. So what we can very easily see is that we do have one access point that is reporting a high noise floor. However, it's reassuring to note that we don't have any high channel utilization on the 5 gigahertz spectrum. So what that leads me to believe is whilst there is a fair bit of noise around this particular access point, it's not having any negative impact on our clients' performance. Now, if we jump to the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum, what we can see here is that there is some high channel utilization, and that's been reported by 2 access points. Now, the other thing that is very valuable is that I'm able to lock in a period of time. So here I'm correlating what happened between Monday and Tuesday of this week on the 2.4 spectrum with the 5 spectrum, with the overall health of the hardware, and also to determine if there have been any changes to the network. So what this allows me to do is understand if there are other elements that are contributing to the problem that we're actually seeing. So let's go in and take a look at the device that's reporting this issue. So again, we're seeing that utilization is not a problem for us. There is a high noise floor. If I wanted to add some other metrics to determine if there's something else that is contributing to this, we can do so. From a device availability, we don't have anything to worry about. It's been fully operational. Now, if I wanted to explore this further, I can then drill into the access point itself. And what I am presented with is the overall parameters of the access point, such as the firmware, how it's connected, IP address, details on the radios, and what we see up here is the health of the access point in the past 5 hours. So the overall device health is good. The radio is good, okay? We know that there is a high noise floor, but we also know that there is very low channel utilization, so it's not having an impact on clients, so we can disregard that. But there is a potential issue on the 2.4 spectrum, and that is because we have high channel utilization coupled with a high noise floor that could be impacting the client's ability to have a strong connection to the network. Now, if we want to take this back a little bit further, let's go back to a week and start having a look at the overall usage of the SSIDs. All right, so here we see across all SSIDs what was the usage of that particular access point. We also get details on the number of clients that were connected. Again, I can do this by radio or by device, or I can do it by SSID. Moving across to the RF, we're provided with a visual representation of the low utilization seen on the 5 gigahertz spectrum, along with the very steady noise floor. Now we can swap to the 2.4 band, where we're now able to see very high channel utilization and also a lot of variability in the noise floor. We're also seeing a few packet loss as well. And of course the channel quality, which is not as high as what was depicted on the 5 gigahertz space. If we have VPN set up, we get details of those as well, the tunnels, how they're connected, and any bandwidth or the bandwidth that's being consumed. The ability to see where the AP is. So we can see that this particular access point is located in the garage. We may want to bring this into an office space, given I can't imagine that there would be much Wi-Fi coverage required in a garage, and having a look to see if there are any events that we need to pay attention to. Now, something that we have also provided are a set of tools for customers to do additional troubleshooting. So as an administrator, if I wasn't quite sure where that access point was, I could start blinking its LED. Or if I wanted to do some further analysis, I could access the console or just reboot the access point itself. Now, one thing that I'd like to draw your attention to is the Go Live feature. This is not active today, but what it will do is it will essentially give us near real-time stats on the performance of that particular device. So in doing so, what we will be collecting statistics every 5 seconds and then presenting them. So that is a unique feature to Aruba. The other aspect that I'd really like to spend a little bit of time on is the clients. Now, for this, I'm actually going to jump over to the client section, where we are presented with a list of all of the clients. Now, I am really only interested in those that are connected, okay? And we will take a deeper dive into what information is available about the clients today. So, like what we saw with the access point, we are getting a snapshot of the health of the client, okay? What is its SNR? What rates is it able to transmit and receive at? Similar to what we see in Airwave, we're presented with a breadcrumb trail of the client's connection. So here we can see that this client is connected to the SSID branch corp, which is on the small site access point that's connected to the small branch switch, which is also connected to the Madrid gateway. So we get the full connectivity path for that particular client. Now, what we see down here, details around the client, its IP address, if its role from the gateway, so this is an employee, what DHCP server it's using, what channel it's connected on. If we were using .1x, we would also get the client's username. So let's have a look at the connectivity for this particular client. And we might see if we can go back to a month to see if we can get some stats. So here we can see how the client is connected. If the client was making any Skype for Business calls, like Airwave, they would be reported here. From an application perspective, we get the client's view of the applications that they have been using. So a lot of YouTube and Amazon Web Services and the types of categories of those applications, and also from a web perspective. So what type of sites has this client been visiting? The location of the client will show us where the client is on the visual RF floor plan. That's not been loaded for this one. And of course, if there are any events that we need to pay attention to. And like the gateways, we have the ability to go live with this client. So what that means again is that we are collecting stats in near real time. So that's all that I had for you today. I hope that this gives you a much greater understanding of the breadth of capability that is now available with Aruba Central. Please join in next time where we'll have a look at what we've done on the switching side. Bye.